Hi traders, and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Wrap on Friday the 15th of October. So we saw some breakouts over the last couple of days. Some of the majors are starting to move, and we've got some indices starting to break some key zones as well. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. So we'll start out here with the Aussie USD. We can see that we've had a very strong week. You can see we've got big long range candles. It's broken a very strong roll reversal zone here. We can see we've had support right through this level here, broke through there, didn't really respect it all that much, came back and tested it like we'd hope it would, and that was going to be your entry point if you're going to go longer from this point here. What it does find itself though is at the top of that mini channel that we had through this period here. Now this is a very strong roll reversal as well. As you can see, I'll just put it right on the line. You can see here that it was support at this level here, then it broke down and it basically hovered in this little range here for about a month and a half. So, you know, reasonable amount of, I guess, respect for each of these levels. I mean, the 20 was holding up there as well. So now, as we've broken through this first part of the bottom channel, it's touching the top of the channel now. So realistically, you know, it is a roll reversal zone, so, you know, for it to be blasting past here without any rejection whatsoever would be quite surprising, and I wouldn't anticipate that will happen. It's definitely got MACD power on its side, so what you want to be looking for around this level is a bit of a roll reversal zone on a smaller time frame. So really you want to go down to the smaller time frames, even maybe a 15-minute to get your clues, and start looking for a series of lower highs and lower lows. Or, I mean, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, you can go to the hour and basically just wait for it to catch up. And then if we get a lightning bolt from this level on the way down, I think you've got some pretty clear zones to actually aim for. I think this channel could start playing a bit of a role in some scalping action again. It would be actually quite ideal if it actually got trapped in this zone here for a little while, because it will give us some good opportunities to actually shorten long the scalp. So keep an eye out for, effectively, I'd like to see an hour breakdown of these moving averages, really. That's probably what would tell us that the momentum has shifted short term to get back down to the roll reversal zone at the bottom of the channel. So ideally a lightning bolt on a 1 hour chart to basically get past these moving averages, a 20 at the very least, show that this level is starting to respect it. We're talking about the 74.20 level here. And if we get that, I think that we can see some good action. You can see we've got a rejection on the 4 hour here. So it's tried to push up, but it has, yeah, as we would probably expect, held up at this level. Failing that, on the upside, if it does continue to break through and closes above on a daily chart, that's what it's going to take. When it's a serious zone like this, it's going to take a daily close above it to actually convince me that it can go longer. If it does that, I would probably more than likely wait for the pullback anyway and test it from above. So then start taking attempts at the long on changes of trend from the 74.20 up. But I would wait for it to come back and test it. You'd want to see that retest of that zone from above. I wouldn't be very keen on taking the initial break and looking at going longer from that point. So trapped in this little zone, but I think there's some good trading there, especially on the scalping side. All right, we'll move over to the US dollar CAD now. This one has been very, very weak. The last week or last few weeks really has been really, really ordinary, and today's trading has been no exception. What it has done though is found itself at a pretty key level now. You can see here the 123.80 actually is the level I pointed out. And I think that's the level that's going to probably, if it's going to hold, this is the level it's going to hold from. It's tried to push down. It's had a little bit of a rejection now. You know, it did find support at this level here. Look, it's not the greatest support of all time, but it is there. And yeah, when the market is doing what it's doing here, it's generally looking for something to land on before it does do a bit of a retest. It's a dead set downtrend now. There's no question about that on a daily chart. So we're certainly not getting excited about going long. But what you could do is potentially counter trend the reversal into the moving averages again. So if you're looking for an entry point, again, you know, we've got our zone, so you got to go to the smaller time frames, and you need price action to change. As you can see, you know, this has been as weak as water all the way down, but at the same time, it has provided really good trading opportunities. If you follow the method that we always talk about, which is the pullbacks to the 20 and the 50, you can see that you've been able to trade this all the way down. Nearly every entry has given you some really good results. Now, what we've got, though, of course, is we know that we're at this support level, and we're looking for a bit of a reversal. So what we'd want to see is a 1 hour change of trend. So we want to see a higher high, higher low sequence off this level here, and a close above the 124, really. A close above 124 and the 1 hour above these moving averages is the only thing that's going to convince me to take a bit of a long shot at the daily and get it back up to effectively the first point of call will be the 200, and that should coincide with this support level here. So we've got support at around that 125 exactly. You got the 200, and you've also got all of these zones here that will basically support and resistance all the way through. That would be the initial target, so about 100 pips. But again, you want to see a close above the 124 on a 1 hour chart at the very least, which will give us the lightning bolt effect, and we know that price momentum has changed. It's really, really important for price momentum to change before we actually take a stab at that long. You don't want to just be jumping in because that is at a level of support. Now, if you want to keep attempting the short, of course, wait for it to touch a 20 again, and if it cracks down and makes a new low and closes lower on the 1 hour, then you just basically follow the trend and continue on doing what it has been doing for a little while. So not bad trading, but yeah, I'd probably keep it a bit short at the moment and go for the scalping opportunities until it really actually establishes itself either at this support or breaks down properly and continues to go lower. All right, we'll move over to the US dollar yen. US dollar yen has been the star of the show. That's the fib that we drew last week. I'll get rid of that now. That's not needed anymore. But what you can see is it's continued on with the show. It's continued to push up higher. It's still trying to get to new highs again. Look, the 114.20 is a very, very important zone for this one. So we'll draw a horizontal line and then we'll take it right out just to really highlight how important the 114 is. I think it hasn't reached it quite yet, but if you go out to a monthly, that's nearly as far as you have to go. If the chart shows us what we need to do. As you can see, very, very strong resistance at this point here. You can see all the way, dating back all the way to 2015, 2017. It was support back in 06. So, yeah, all the way back to 93. This goes a long, long way. So it's really telling you that it's a very, very, very strong level, the 114. So what that tells us, most importantly, is it's going to be difficult to break. So what we're looking for initially is probably a test of this zone, and we're probably going to start looking for, shorting opportunities really more than anything else. We had the perfect pullback. We've already had the trade. We were already aiming for this, so it's already really reached our targets anyway. But if you haven't gotten involved and you're trying to, what you need to be doing is going to a smaller time frame, potentially attempt the 114 push up. But at that level there, you've got to be really, really careful. So you want to be looking at maybe taking your profits there if you are long, or maybe looking for those shorting opportunities if you are trying to trade it on the way down. So realistically, go to the 1 hour again, of course. You can see basically just following up the 20 moving average. It's got a little bit to go, but it's right in your face. Look, I think there are better trades now. I think this one's already run its race. We've got what we needed. Now I think what we need to do is just see it make its turns around this level. It might push up a little bit higher, but I would be looking for the opportunities to probably counter trend it short. Look for a series of lower highs and lower lows on a significant time frame like a 1 hour or a 4 hour. And if we get that, we can start trading it back to the 112.50, 113 levels, and effectively just attempt the retraces of it. Yeah, the 114 is probably going to hold it up. It would take an extraordinary move to break it on the first go. So we start looking for the reversal opportunities in this one. All right, so the next one we'll have a look at is the dollar index. We'll go over to this one. This, again, has been an interesting one. The last couple of days has been a little bit ordinary, but it's certainly found support on the 20 moving average. I actually thought it might have gone a little bit further and actually tested the role reversal, but it found that support at the 20, which is, I guess, good for it. And it's definitely trying to push up higher now around that 93.90. I would be, looking for, I still think it's definitely long from a longer standpoint on higher and higher lows on the daily. So I wouldn't be looking at shorting it anytime soon because it hasn't done anything to warrant that. But you need to go to the smaller time frames to look for it to be able to continue back up into the 94.50 area. So what you want to be doing, again, go down to the smaller time frames. You can see here that it's still looking relatively weak on the 4 hour, and we're about to get a moving average crossover 20 and 50, which hasn't been done since the low 92. So it's certainly significant, but price could definitely push up. It wouldn't take a lot of action to actually stop this cross from happening. And the 1 hour, as you can see, is trying to push up. So what I would be looking for in this instance is a close above this level here. So you want the 1 hour to basically close above the moving averages. That will give us the lightning bolt that we're wanting. And that will confirm this push up off the 20 moving average. And then we start aiming for that mid 94 level again. So not a bad level to actually aim for. Now that it is actually testing this level, if you want to short it, of course, it has to break down past the 20 on a daily. If the daily doesn't close below the 20 moving average, you would not be shorting this. So you definitely want to be waiting for that and waiting for the price action to lead the way on this one. This, of course, leads us to the euro. We'll go straight to the daily. The euro is the one that we're interested in on that one. You can see that it touched the 20 moving average and it touched that 116.30 zone, which is a roll reversal from below. We know that it was support over here. You can see that it's pushed up, touched the 20. We've got a double resistance with the crossover and the roll reversal zone. So yeah, pretty significant in that regard. I do like that actually, that the dollar index looks like it wants to start pushing up higher off its 20, and this one wants to start selling off the 20. So we know they're correlated. We know they work basically as an inverse to each other, and this is the easier trade because of course the spreads are really tight and you're going to get some really good liquidity. So look, for this one you want to be going to smaller time frames again. You can see it's testing the that level. What you want to see is effectively the same thing on the lower high and lower low sequence like we saw on the dollar index, except in reverse. The good thing about this one, of course, is that if it does, it has basically touched that level. It's close enough to it. And if you do get the lightning bolt down, so you want to see a 1 hour close below the 20 and the 50 moving average, what you're also going to get is a head and shoulders pattern at a point of reversal on a 1 hour chart. So yeah, that leads us to what we're effectively looking at as a pattern. That's your neckline there. The target will be the bottom of the neckline, which of course is the next level of support. So it makes a lot of sense to actually get to that level, and that will be a head and shoulders in the direction of the very short-term trend, selling off a resistance zone. So really, really important. Hasn't played out yet, of course, but if it does come down here and breaks this low on the 1 hour, that's our target to go lower, because then we have got the head and shoulders confirmation, the break of the neckline, and a very clear target of that 115.40 area. So good trading on the euro. You just want to keep an eye on it. Make sure that you wait for the confirmation, of course, and if it does, I think the head and shoulders pattern is probably the way to play it out. And of course, you got the lightning bolt to back it up off the resistance. So really good trade. All right, we will move on to the Aussie 200. We'll look at this one quickly. You can see that it's pushed up higher past the moving averages. It needs to close above here for mine on a daily candle. It's trying to, and it's certainly bounced off this level. The only thing I am conscious of is that it's right into this resistance zone. This was a channel here for quite a long time. This is a daily chart. We've got many, many days here of resistance. So it's got a little bit of work to do to actually break above this. I think it might find a little bit of resistance throughout the Friday session today. It's been a pretty strong week. And quite often, when you have a week like this, you do start to see a little bit of a pullback. So there might be a bit of profit taking. But just be very, very mindful that although this may be the target, which is a 74.40 area, you've got this to contend with. So it does have to break this level here before I get confident that it's going to try and push up another 80 points. I would probably err on the side of just waiting on this, waiting for a break above this level on the daily. And then if it does that, then it looks like it's basically reverse the trend. And our pullback, our October and September pullback that we were waiting for might finally be over. So if that's the case, we'll start looking for the longs again. So let it prove itself first, though, of course. Let it break past that level. Let all the retail traders do the work for you, and when that happens, then you can jump in and take advantage of the breaking of those levels. All right, the last one we'll have a look at is the S&P 500, because of course this is everybody's favorite. This one's trying to make a higher high, higher low sequence. You can see we've still been in a downtrend up until now. It's trying to close above it. It needs to close on a daily above it to convince me. If it does that, then we're going to probably start looking for the long opportunities again to try and get it to the previous highs. It would take this break to really change this trend, obviously. So it hasn't done it yet, but it's trying to, and it's very, very close. So we're going to monitor this one. If it does start to reverse and it looks like it's starting to weaken again, we've got very clear targets on the way down. The previous lows are the places you want to be aiming for. But of course, if it does close above this level here, this is the level we're trying to break. Very similar to the ASX 200, of course. If it breaks that level on a daily and starts to push up, then we've got very clear targets on the way up. So I think there's good trading on both of these, probably into next week as well, because they may start breaking out. You can see that we've already got a bit of an establishment of a break of a key zone, but it's got to continue on with it now. So if it breaks through, we know we've got some pretty good trading for next week, but of course, if it gets stuck here in reverses, we've got trading for next week on the way down. So either way, we're happy to take either. I'm not really biased either side. I think both of them provide good opportunities. It's just a matter of letting the market sort itself out and taking the opportunity when it does close above or below these levels. So I hope everyone's had a great week's trading. We've had good opportunities again and really good technicals. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all next week.